specifically what it is, but it is a real shame that you can't speak about the truth of things going on. Not even being conspiracy theorist, but just talking about the things that people talk about without being put in trouble. And it's really frustrating. So we need to kind of lead with that, I think. Just letting people know that we're going to do our best to be transparent.
Extreme honesty with a fresh twist.
Be specific about certain things, even in our
loud and proud.
private members chat.
Can't be cowed. Every week we speak our mind for love of country. It's one of a kind. So grab a seat, let the brain show roll. We're serving up truth, heart and soul. Brian and Shane with that patriot steel for the people, by the people, of the people. Let's go. It's the brain show coming in hot every week. We bring the truth when we speak. Red, white, and blue, the bulls stand tall. We the people, united won't fall. It's the brain show coming in hot every week. We bring the truth when we speak. Red, white, and blue, the bulls stand tall. We the people, united won't fall. It's the brain show coming in hot every week. We bring the truth when we speak. Red, white, and blue, the bulls stand tall. We the people, united won't fall. It's the brain show coming in hot every week. We bring the truth when we speak. Red, white, and blue, the bulls stand tall. We the people, united won't fall. It's a great show, coming in hot every week. We bring the truth when we speak. Red, white, and blue, the bulls stand tall. We the people, united won't fall. It's a great show, coming in hot every week. We bring the truth when we speak. Red, white, and blue, the bulls stand tall. We the people, united won't fall.
This is for America!
Shut the fuck up!
Yep. All right.
You know the problem with Hollywood is? They make shit unbelievable, unremarkable shit.
To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair.
Will you fight? No! We will run! And we will live!
Shame on you. This could be the greatest night of our lives. But you're gonna let it be the worst.
And I guarantee a week won't go by in your life you won't regret walking out, letting them get the best of you.
Well, I'm not going home.
Day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
I'm not saying it's gonna be easy.
You're gonna work harder than you ever worked before.
I really do believe that together we can accomplish anything.
Because we'll never stop learning and we'll never stop growing.
Failure is not an option. That's how winning is done. Believe me when I say we can break this army here. It has made us brothers. I say to you, what every warrior has known since the beginning of time. You've got to get mad.
I mean plumb mad dog mean.
If you would be free men, then you must
Fight to fulfill that promise. Let us
Cut out their living guts.
1 inch at a time.
And they will know what we can do!
Let no man forget how menacing we are. We are lions.
This is your time.
Seize the day. Never surrender.
Victory or death.
So come on then! Take it!
This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
All right, let's fly! My name is the Lord. When I
Tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take
our Independence Day.
You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world.
Come on.
We don't sleep to dream, we sleep to build stamina, energy to do our thing. Get your camera. This show is about to begin, so sit down and buckle it in. Let's go!
Yeah, baby. My name is Brian. That is Shane, and you are watching The BRANE Show.
Woo!
Coming in hot every week. How you doing today, brother?
Coming in hot every week. Yeah, that's that song's grown on me, man. Grown on me.
Yeah.
Happy
We bring
Saturday,
the truth
dude.
when we speak. Red,
Well,
white, and
yeah.
blue.
Those are good lyrics. You wrote those lyrics.
I wrote the lyrics. Yes, I did.
Nice. So you're author, Brian Montgomery. Thank
I'm
you.
the
Here he
author.
is. Yes.
Woo-hoo. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome, guys. Brian just spoke he was on another show for 3 hours, and now he gets to do it again. So kudos to you, bro. Thanks for taking one for the team so we can do this. Listen, thank you guys for all showing up this morning. You are here on the BRANE Show on Saturday, and we're excited to be here. We're going to get into all of the good news of the day. Brian is going to unload our topics here in a second, but I wanted to say something first. I know it seems like the excitement is now over, that the election has occurred and Donald Trump has won. And a lot of people who were rooting for him are now like, you've kind of had that moment of we won. And now you're in this phase of, okay, what's next? Well, let me just tell you, you don't want to get too comfortable, because what's next is the work is just beginning. Okay. If you remember when Trump got elected in 2016, immediately his term was under attack, right? So he was immediately Russian collusion and all of these things. And the goal was to basically make him seem like he wasn't fit to be president at the time. Well, if you think that playbook's changed, it hasn't. And the people who were loud and are trying to keep him out of making decisions in our government are going to continue doing that, and even more throughout these next 4 years, to try to make sure that doesn't happen. So what does this do? It makes this incredibly difficult for you and I, because we have to try to figure out what the truth is. And we have to try to, get through the weeds from, you got one side telling you one thing, you got another side telling you something else. We're all stuck in these echo chambers. What I can promise you is that every week, if you come back here, we are going to look at these things that are happening around the world, in our country, whether it's politics, whether it's entertainment, no matter what big thing, whether it's a Tyson-Paul fight. We're going to talk about these things, and we're just going to give you the unabashed truth as we've been able to uncover it, because it's harder and harder to get good information, and it's going to continue to be harder. So thank you guys for coming, and that's our commitment to you if you come here every week.
Yeah. Also, if you noticed, the members video is down. Shane, can you explain why that happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, and this is part of the work that we're talking about. It's not over. Just because Trump won doesn't mean everything's going to change in a second. And doesn't mean everything's going to change perfectly the way we think it is. For example, Google is still continuing to, make sure we can only speak about certain things, won't allow us to talk about things. Our member video last week, if you guys remember, you were with us. We went into talking about kind of RFK Jr.'s, his points, his thoughts, things that have been said. And that was enough to get our video not just flagged, but basically struck, right?
Yeah, we got a strike.
So we got a strike. And that was all we simply did, was explain. We weren't saying he was right or he was wrong. What we were saying was, this is what he believes. So for simply saying what one of Trump's cabinet members believes, we got our video struck. So we still have a long way to go. And, we're going to have to be careful about how the types of words we use and the things that we say. But you will get the truth, even if we have to use things like, the jab or, those school age requirements that children have to have. I don't know the words we're going to have to pick. We're going to have to think what they are, but we will give you as much visibility, as much transparency as possible, because honestly, it's getting tougher out there.
Yeah, I was actually pretty surprised by that strike too, because I went to go look at what's crazy is we've gotten copyright claims and stuff like that, but we never gotten community violations before.
Right.
We've gotten other weird stuff from YouTube, reused content and weird stuff like that, but like community violations, like that's a new one. So I'm going through they make you go to school. So when you get a strike, in order for that strike, to start to expire, because it expires every 90 days, they make you basically do like a class, and the class will ask questions. And I'm going to be very, very vague here so I don't get in trouble, but it'll be like, is this okay for someone to say? And it will be like, Sally made a YouTube video about this thing that we don't like.
Just say horses or something.
Yeah, Sally made a video about horses, and horses are awesome. So what do you think? And Sally said they weren't. What do you think? Is that okay? and it makes you say Sally was wrong or Sally was no. And
Right.
like, Sally was wrong? And they're like, that's correct. Sally was wrong. Horses are awesome.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. And then the next question is, basically they make you, there's like 8 questions and they're all like a variation of the same thing where it's like telling you, we believe this way. You cannot tell us different. You cannot be skeptical about what we believe.
Right.
You cannot speak against it, and you cannot platform people that speak against it. This is what we believe, and therefore you must toe this line, or the strike will, or you will not pass this class, and the strike will continue to stay on your account. And you're like, that was a weird moment for me because it stressed me out. Shane was right. He's like, why didn't you screenshot these questions? And I'm like, I didn't screenshot them because I was so stressed at the time. I was like, I'm just trying to get through it, bro. Because I
don't want to get it wrong.
You're allowed to be wrong 3 times before you fail. I was wrong twice already, and I'm like, because I'm being reasonable. I'm like, well, she's allowed to be skeptical. No, she's not.
Let me put on my leftist hat. Okay, there we go.
I had to really put the leftist hat on. I remember I was on the 8th question, and the way they worded it was so tricky, and I'm like, I don't know which one to select. I only have one more strike. Oh no! And luckily, I picked the right one, and it was the craziest answer. It was like, we're right all the time was basically the answer. And I'm like, oh, I got it right. Thank God.
It's one of those tests where you take it and it's like all the above is always the right answer.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy, man.
So there's few platforms that you can do this. There's Rumble, which you can, I believe, say pretty much anything, right? And then you've got X. Those are the only 2 platforms where you can pretty much say whatever you want. And I'm not even talking about like doxing people or saying things that are just patently strange and wrong. Just simply having a discussion about things that might be controversial is definitely still the same here on this platform. So just be aware, whatever you hear, that's the way it's going to be. But, we'll have to see where it takes us in the future. Hopefully it changes. I know that the leadership at Google started changing when they realized Trump was going to win. They started actually becoming more, buddy to Trump. So we'll see how things change, hopefully.
Yeah, we will. So what are we talking about today? Well, let me tell you. We are going to talk about the Tyson Paul fight. Was it rigged or just sad? Because I think it's a little bit of both, and we're gonna discuss that really quickly.
We're gonna grade Netflix as well.
Yeah, that was nuts, right? That was sort of crazy. Netflix was my mic levels are so low. My bad, guys. Yeah, Netflix was really bad streaming. I'm sorry, Shay, I need to fix my mic levels. They just dropped.
Okay.
Talk about something real quick.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about, we're going to kind of go over the stuff that happened this week. So it was kind of.
Oh, Shane, you still here?
For Donald because good. I feel like I am. Oh no, I'm frozen over here on the screen.
Yeah, you're good now. I lost you for a second, but you're okay now.
Okay.
Yeah, everything should be fine. I fixed the mic thing. Yeah, my mic level is dropping because my settings for Salty Saturday is different from here. Okay, We're back now. I apologize. Thank you for that quick end of it. All right, so yes, we're talking about the Tyson fight. We're going to talk about the Netflix. There's a lot to unwrap there. Some of it's sad, some of it's just ridiculous and rigged, but we have to speak about it. We have to. Also, InfoWars. There's a lot of drama going on about InfoWars right now. Speaking of a show that cannot be platformed anywhere but X and Rumble.
Yes, exactly.
There's a lot of weird stuff. Like there was an auction, the Onion News Networks bought it, then they didn't, and we're going to go into that. Also, Trump's cabinet picks are sort of crazy. Some are great, some are not so great. Some are master level trolling that doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know if it's trolling. That's what people are saying. I don't believe it's trolling. And
I think at least one of them.
I don't even think that's trolling.
Really?
Nope, I don't. And I think there's a really good explanation, a very good reason.
Okay,
we'll definitely break that down for you.
Also, part of that nomination involves Elon Musk and the Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. We're going to break down some of those silly waste of resources, and other great stuff, I'm sure. So, I think we just jump right into it. There's enough people
Yeah.
here. Yeah. Okay. So the fight was Friday night.
Last night, yeah.
Last night. Sorry, in my mind I was thinking about the clip. So Friday night. Last Friday, Tyson versus Paul, a 60-year-old heavyweight world champion versus a TikTok influencer.
YouTube influencer. Well, I guess he's on TikTok too.
Yeah, well, I think he got popular on Vine first.
Wow,
I think
so he's old. He's old for a young influencer.
Yeah. So this is what happened. We watched the fight, and I'm sorry, but we cannot show you any of the fight.
Isn't that sad?
Because I had clips ready to go.
Yeah.
And all of them were copyright claimed, so I deleted them from our show list. But I can show you something that may make you reconsider if this was a real fight or not.
Okay.
So we're going to get into the fact that Netflix had so many users, even Netflix couldn't keep up. We're going to get into all the crazy WWF, WWE kind of lead up to everything. But I need to show you this video first because this is going to tell you right away that something is amiss. Are you ready?
Yep.
Oops. I know my camera's gone out there too.
Nice distance. Hey, bro. Nice one, Mike. Nice one, Mike.
Nice one, Mike.
Bro. Nice one, Mike. Fine. More, Mike.
Okay. So you're seeing what's going on with this. And the wild part about that clip is how explosive Mike is. And if you watch the fight on Netflix, then you would know that is not at all what Mike looked like.
Right.
Mike very much looked his age.
He looked older than his age, bro.
Yeah, he looked older.
I was looking at him going, he looks like he's even older than 58. He looks like he's in his 60s. His face had that quality that you get when you get a little older that I'm not far from, that where it starts like caving in on itself a little bit and the wrinkles become like very elderly. I was surprised. And look at how far this is at Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas, by the way, where this took place. And look at how far they made him walk to the ring. Dude, it took like 5 minutes. It took 5 minutes for Paul to ride in his car
to drive there.
Yeah. I'm like, that guy's gonna be tired by the time he gets to the ring.
Yeah. So first off, that part alone, like watching the lead up to it, I'm like, Mike is still, he's still good. This is going to be a great fight. And then watching the fight, I'm like, this was not real. Like he was paid to mail it in.
Well, he made 20 million, I believe. I haven't confirmed that. I keep hearing that from sources, and I hear that Paul made 40 million. So all I can tell you is, you want to know who lost? Netflix lost.
Yes.
And the guy who paid $2 million or $1 million to be ringside at that weird little seating area that had a monitor and it was like right up against the ring. Somebody paid like $1 million to sit there. I'm like, you lost too. Although the undercard fights, 2 of the 3 undercard fights were fantastic.
Yeah, the girls' fight was great.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
The girl who lost should have won. The other girl,
100%. Yeah, she should have won. Yeah. And someone was like, well, they're just going on their pity party tour right now. Like, well, no, like, look at the numbers. Like, she landed more shots. Like, point-wise, she should have won.
It looked like she should have won. Like, I'm watching the fight, and I'm like, you know how sometimes the eye test just doesn't pass? Mm-hmm. You're like, it sure seemed like the other girl hit the other girl more, and it seemed like that other girl got 2 penalties for headbutting. She headbutted her so bad she completely ripped open her eye, which caused it even harder for her to fight. I'm like, anyways, I guess this is the second time they fought, and both times it was questionable, the outcome. So,
interesting.
Sure I'm not a boxing expert. Okay.
So, right. A couple things about this too. Okay. Just the stupid driving the custom car up to the ring was so reminiscent of like the WWF SmackDowns from back in the day and stuff like that. What made it even more hilariously 2024 is that you can see there was a phone on a little tripod streaming to Twitch while they were doing it.
That's funny.
That was like that's such a Logan Paul, Jake Paul kind of thing to do. And like, while I enjoy the showmanship that these guys have, I like, obviously Jake Paul is an expert, or his brother or whoever's in charge or both of them, expert marketers. Like, they're very good at marketing themselves. The fight wasn't a good fight. It didn't look real. It looked like it looked like Mike was very old and or mailing it in. It didn't look like the Mike we saw a week before training. It just didn't look like the same person.
Well, and you got to understand the relationship. So they were friends before this thing happened. I guess Tyson and Jake Logan spent time together. Or Jake Paul spent time together. So there was that. Of course, he came up with this idea, So the whole thing was, if you watch when Jake is like riding in on his car, to me, he looked nervous. Like, you don't see that usually on his face. He's really good at with his bravado. But to me, he seemed a little nervous coming up. I don't think he quite knew what was going to happen once they got in the ring. My feeling is that there was some discussion as to, hey, this is going to be a big payday. Let's get in there. Let's not hurt each other. Let's not, because it's a lose-lose situation. If Jake Paul knocks out Tyson, he's not a hero, right? Because he just beat up an old man.
Right. No one wants to see Mike Tyson.
No one wants to see that.
Yeah.
And he and being good marketers, like you said, that would make sense. Like, I bet the read in the room was, no matter what happens, you can't knock out Tyson.
Right.
Tyson was announced second. Very important. So Paul came out first, and what is that? That's the contender always comes out first, right? Then the champion comes out next. And it was a huge, it was probably the most live love that Tyson has gotten in 20 years. Okay, since his last fight, if not longer. It was really built up as like, and even afterwards, after the fight was over, nothing but great things to say about Tyson. So this was a marketing event from beginning to end. And if you think that they didn't have this conversation, like, you can't knock out Tyson. And here's the other thing, Jake Paul, he's trying to build this boxing.
Right.
He wants to be a boxer, an actual boxer, right? He thinks this is going to take him to the next level. Well, he can't have Tyson knock him out either.
Right.
Because that would bring him down in the visibility of what he's trying to accomplish.
Right.
So the only way this thing works is if neither of them do. And it was very obvious that neither boxer was trying to hurt each other for 8 rounds, to me.
Yeah, I got to say, if you want to be a real boxer, Jake, here's an idea. Stop challenging people twice your age and retired.
Honestly, yeah.
You want to be a real boxer? Box real boxers.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Mike Tyson's not a real boxer. I'm talking about active in their sport boxers.
He didn't want to go through the work, bro. He didn't want to start at the bottom. And, power to him. He's able to accomplish this stuff. Maybe it'll get him a fight. The whole idea was to get him a fight against maybe one of the really good boxers. And they were talking about how perhaps it might get their attention after this. But really, honestly, it was the worst fight of all 4 fights that happened. And it was just a huge disappointment. And honestly, a waste of my time.
Yeah, a waste of everyone's time. And you know what? Netflix didn't. This is not good for Netflix. Not only because they spent so much money on it, but although they did get a lot of eyeballs.
I'm sure they got a lot of subscribers too.
Yeah, so many eyeballs, so many subscribers that it broke the platform for a lot of people. But this is why it's not good for them, because you have the NFL and other agencies looking at Netflix right now as their home for live events.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, Netflix is showing that they really can't put on a live event without a lot of problems.
I want to know, we won't know this, Brian, but I believe that may be the largest streamed event ever.
It might be. Yeah.
I think it might be. And that goes to tell you something, because what was happening Netflix was you get that circle. Now, if you knew the trick, you could back out of Netflix and go right back in, and you only lost about 10 seconds. Most people didn't know you could do that.
Right.
I figured it out. Well, actually, my 11-year-old figured it out. But
you can also use an ad blocker and that would and like no other windows open, and that would limit how much you're pulling from Netflix, because Netflix has a bunch of trackers that also pull information.
Well, I was using it on the television. I don't know if it makes a difference, but this thing was not just in the United States. This is, you got to remember, these Paul people, Tyson, these are worldwide names. Like a lot of people outside of our country know. I would not be surprised if nearly 1 billion people tried to watch this thing. It would not shock me at all. Seriously. And I don't know if anybody can stream with 1 billion eyeballs trying to get on their platform.
So I'm watching it yesterday with my buddy, and it's interesting because I asked him, like, what's the point of 2 hours of other fights before the fight we care about? And he's like, well, I'll tell you, back in the day, these undercard fights were basically for them to work, because a lot of, like, especially when we first started doing live boxing, there's a lot of things can go wrong, especially with the big boxing challenge. You want to make sure that all the little production errors and issues and commercials and stuff you have to get in there are out of the way before you get to the big ticket, which makes a lot of sense. Like, as a producer, it makes a lot of sense for me to put all the fluff up front, right? And give them the big ticketed event, what they came for, once all the little ghosts in the machines are worked out.
Well, yeah, also in the 80s and 90s, so they used to, this is where all this started, was back then. They used to charge over $100. Now, if you go back to the 80s, $100 and something was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like $500 today, $500 or $600 a day to watch a pay-per-view event. So if you brought out the main card, especially if Tyson's on the main card and he knocks somebody out in 23 seconds in the first round, you are not going to be happy about the money you spent. So they needed to give you more entertainment and create more of there had to be a value for your purchase. So I think that's just kind of continued on. And now it's an opportunity to market. And honestly, if it hadn't been for those 2 undercard fights, you had a welterweight a championship round match, and then you had the women's championship match. If you didn't have those 2, this would have been devastating, I think, and a devastating event.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it looks like they needed that entire 2 hours just to sort of pull the stream together, too. Because it was like, I wonder how many servers they were just dedicating to this event at some point.
Oh, yeah. And people don't understand, Brian. If you don't watch boxing, the 2 fights that came before the Paul Tyson fight, you don't get to usually see fights like that.
No, you don't.
People do not usually stand toe-to-toe and beat the crap out of each other in boxing rings.
No.
That was like really like, I mean, somebody told them, listen, you need to come all out in these fights, because those are the most bloodiest fights I've seen in a while. So
I gotta say, the biggest turnoff for me when it comes to boxing is that a lot of the boxing I've watched are like the Tyson Paul fight, where no one's
Merriweather didn't ever want to get hit. So
no one's hitting each other. Everyone's just trying to play for points, and it's boring. Like, straight up, I know these 2 people are fighting technically, but like, I watch boxing, I'm like, this is boring as hell. Then I watch that women's fight, and they're just like losing
toe-to-toe. It was,
If that's what boxing was, I would watch it every week.
They were calling it Rock'em Sock'em Robots. You know, if there was a game when we were kids, the Rock'em Sock'em Robots, where they just stand there and beat the crap out of each other. No, absolutely true. And that's why a lot of people are now into UFC instead of boxing, because UFC is more violent, is more action taking place, and boxing's really kind of taken a back seat to it. So we'll see where this goes. I don't know if it's honestly, there needed to be a few more punches taken for somebody, you know. And I think Paul was a little bit afraid of Tyson, a little bit. And I think Tyson
maybe he was afraid Tyson wasn't going to honor their deal. He's like, this guy is a loose cannon. He's biting his glove. He's like, he's gonna default on our contract and just eat me on live television.
Well, that slap was real. So the slap that happened before was not. A lot of people were saying, well, that was set up. No, it was real. It was totally unexpected.
Because Jake stepped on his feet. Yeah,
he stepped on his foot, and Tyson just reacted. I mean, Tyson snapped. So and I think
Tyson was biting his glove because he has like an issue. He has an anger issue. I think what it was, like, I think he's biting his glove as like a way for him to deal with controlling himself. I think that's a control thing.
Oh, maybe. I know he's done it in fights past. I remember, it's funny. I went to look it up. He does. That was way more than he's ever done it before.
And he was chewing on that thing, dude. He was like,
I thought it was funny. He says afterwards, what did he say? He's gonna have a chewing problem.
Yeah, afterwards, like, we saw you biting on your gloves. Is there a story behind that? He goes, I have a biting problem.
Yeah.
Or something
Vander
like that.
Holyfield on the side of the thing going like this.
He's still missing half his ear. Okay, that's it. Let us know what you guys think in the chat, in the comment section. What you guys thought? If you guys watched the fight, do you care? Is this a new era for live television on Netflix? Because it might be. And you know what? I would rather Netflix be running like Super Bowl and stuff like that than the hodgepodge of streaming services we have right now, where every single year we're trying to ask ourselves, where's the Super Bowl? Where's the Grammys? Where are these very specific live events that we no longer have TV, guys? It's like we don't have network television. So where are
we do. You're right. It's out there, and believe it or not, only about, I think, 45% it said does not have cable TV. Only 45% of Americans. So you and I haven't had cable TV. For me, it's been 8 years.
Yeah, it's been a decade plus.
So it feels like that, but there still is. I mean, listen, as the older people continue to die, cable will disappear over the next 20 years for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right, guys, let us know what you guys think in the comment section below and in the chat. We want to hear your opinions, right, Shane?
Yes, and also please subscribe while you're, if you haven't, like the video and subscribe. We could use the support.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next story here. Interesting story. We're going to talk about the InfoWars, but first I got to fix my my camera here, so give me 1 second.
What's wrong with it?
When I go into Chrome mode, it just disappeared because I added a feature and I forgot this very particular scene. I'm just going to fix it real quick. It'll only take a second.
No problem. Take your time. We got lots of fun stuff to talk about. I'm gone.
I'm here.
I'm gone. I'm gone completely.
It's all right. We're back.
I want you guys to know how easy it is for Brian to just get rid of me. It just could happen so quickly.
Yes. You are here at my whim.
Or not.
Yes.
Yeah, the week, it seems like, the Paul fight was a big one, and Trump's basically, setting up his cabinet seemed to be the big stories of the week. The one thing we should talk about before we get too much into it is also the fact that how the world leaders changed in only 2 days. So quickly, suddenly all the different people's positions, China, Russia, Iran, all the different problems around the world, as soon as Trump became president, started talking about how they wanted to suddenly, let's talk about things and let's change our relationship with the United States. Let's
chat.
You notice how that all changed? Now, what's hilarious is, the left is probably going to take credit for that and say, oh, well, this all happened while Biden was still president. But make no bones about it. These changes occurring are happening because there is great concern that Trump's going to come in and change the fabric of how we do business. And he should. So, have you fixed your camera, sir?
Yes, I have.
All right.
Let's, all right. So this next topic, let me just pull it up real quick. We're talking about the InfoWars drama. So InfoWars, if you remember, owned by Alex Jones, and Alex Jones was fined over $1 billion for, I'm not sure if I can say it, but like.
Don't say it. Say it. Just say the SH thing.
The SH thing. Mm-hmm. So there was a whole thing about SH, and we've talked about this before. And whatever side you line up on, regardless.
He implied it was a hoax.
He implied it was a false flag or something like that.
He didn't imply. Sorry. He didn't imply. He did say specifically that it was, which caused some problems, and the judges didn't like it. And so he got punished.
So he got punished for over $1 billion. So Alex Jones owed over $1 billion, the biggest judgment in history.
Right.
And so they were, he had to give him a bunch of money, and now they're going to auction off InfoWars. InfoWars.com, InfoWars the studio, hit the place he works at, and what he's made his business.
His business, yeah.
And here's what was hilarious. The Onion News Network initially won the auction, announced that they had bought InfoWars, and then even said, and this is funny, even though they're left-wing, weirdos, they did say, we won't be changing a thing, which is sort of funny because the InfoWars was a lot of conspiracy stuff. And like, if you think about it, the Onion News Network is, basically they're saying it's so crazy, we don't got to change anything.
Because it aligns with them.
Right.
Yeah.
But then something happened that everyone needs to hear about. The decision for the Onion to buy InfoWars or auction, to win the auction, was reversed. And here, I'll let Alex Jones tell you what happened. Here we go.
Oh, careful who we're platforming.
So here we are in the InfoWars studios on November 14th, 2024. It is 6:19. And I've just been down the road at the Alex Jones Network studios.
I'm sorry, you got pauses. Yes. So, by the way, they won the auction, and for about 9 minutes, Infowars.com didn't exist until AlexJones.network popped up, and he was right back.
Right. And that's what the greats do. You're going to take away that one?
He streamed up until the very end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess it took him 10 minutes to drive to his new studio and just start streaming again. It was like 12 minutes before he was back on air. But then, several hours later, he's back at the studio, and this is what he has to say.
That were built as backups. And this is the facility we've been in for 16 years. Now, I have major breaking news for everyone. The headlines you see everywhere that the Onion bought InfoWars today is not true.
Ooh.
The judge had an emergency hearing today that we filed for at 8 a.m. this morning. It went on for several hours. He was extremely upset, the federal judge, Chris Lopez, and said this is not a real auction. You don't claim there's a public auction where people can bid up and have them register for it, and then 2 days before change it and say the bids are secret and we don't have to take the highest one. Then he asked the U.S. trustee that ran this, what was the winning bid? He said, well, I can't tell you. Did you hear what I just said?
Yes, we did, Alex. So I'm going to paraphrase. So they changed, before YouTube gives us another strike.
I was going to say, yeah, it's coming.
They changed the rules of the auction from a public to a private, and then they didn't even give the winning bid to whoever the highest number was. They purposely gave it to the Onion, someone they knew
would toe the line.
Would toe the line, yeah, right. And so that's illegal, like that's not allowed. So the judge got a hold of it and said, "Look, we're not doing that. Let's reverse that." Alex Jones is now back in his studio. And here was his.
Well, here we are back at the InfoWars studios. I thought it was bought by the Onion. I heard they bought it, or they got it at an auction. Turned out it was a rigged auction. Turned out the judge didn't authorize that auction. Turns out they colluded on the bids beforehand and not told the real people that came to bid. Turns out people are really interested to find out what's going on.
Let that sink in.
You know, Brian, this is the real, I know it's funny. This is the real war, guys. You're seeing it play out. And I want you to take what you just saw, okay, and apply that to everything that you see going forward. What Alex Jones just went through it's a transparency problem. So he lost. Now they're trying to control what's happening behind the scenes quietly. They don't want nobody to see it, okay? And now it gets brought to light. This is what's been happening in our government, in our industries for decades and decades. And the fight that we're really having, that Trump just won, okay, and what we're going through as a country is a fight over keeping things secretive or making things visible. Because when things are visible, what happens? Everything that's truthful, like common sense wins. People can't cheat. People can't in an environment with visibility, with high visibility. So you have a group of people all fighting to keep things in the dark. And they have constituents, these poor people who have been brainwashed, culticized by our national media into believing that these things are true. to keep things in the dark. Well,
Yep.
it's dangerous for free speech because people might say things that either hurt people's feelings or that make people do things that they shouldn't do, right? That is the lies that keep things quiet, that allow the government and political organizations to take advantage of people. So it's really important that you take what's happening here and you apply this across all things that you watch. When you see a news story or when you watch something, ask yourself, is this transparent? Is something being hidden? Who is asking for things to be less transparent? And then look more into it there.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a responsibility that we have. It is time consuming, but it's the only way you'll really know the truth.
It really is.
So, very interesting.
Sorry,
Bless you, sir.
coughing.
Bless you.
Right. That's right. Speaking. Yeah. Freedom of speech is important. I understand. Maybe there's people out there that don't like Alex Jones. It's fine. I don't like Cenk Uygur. I don't like Rachel Maddow. I don't like Stephen King. I don't like a lot of people. But do I think those people should be deplatformed?
No.
Should I think that even when they say ridiculous, violent, racist, over-the-top, harmful rhetoric to their violent, extreme viewer base, should they be fined billions of dollars?
No.
No. It's called freedom of speech. And even if I don't like what you're saying, you have the right to say it. That's the point.
Right.
And I feel like only one side understands the basic concept of freedom of speech. The other side thinks that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. And I want you to keep going, but just be advised. I am now starting to see on the right, now that the right has won, I am starting to see people call for the left to be quieted.
That's wrong.
That is not right. If you find yourself in a situation where you're saying we need to shut up those left people so they don't say those things that we don't like, you are wrong. Okay. And I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it in our little echo chamber start to go that way where they want to shut those people up. No, let them keep talking, because the more they say ridiculous things, the more the truth will be revealed. Sorry, go ahead on your rant. You're doing good.
No, rant is over. All I'm saying is, like, it's very odd how one side seems to understand the basic concept of freedom of speech and why it's so important. And I'm gonna say what I've said a million times. Bad ideas die in the sunlight. Good ideas flourish and become fruit-bearing plants and trees. If a bad idea is hidden in the dark, in the recesses of the internet, in the little 4chan pockets,
4chan
places, whatever, it's like mold, and it just becomes like this overwhelming black fungus that just takes over your home and rots your entire foundation. You have to shine a light on bad ideas. People go, well, we can't give bad ideas a platform. Are you insane? Yes, you can. They should have a platform for reasonable people to look at it and say, that's nuts. I'm not doing that. That person should not be listened to. And there are people on the right that are nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of people on the left that are nuts.
Well,
But-
and if you have to believe that the majority of people are reasonable.
Right.
And if we believe that the majority of people are reasonable, yes, you're going to have people that are going to believe dumb things on both sides of the political spectrum.
Absolutely.
But you cannot silence them so that you can let people know, well, yeah, there's some crazies over there. Listen, that's what humanity is all about. So, free speech is really, really important. I mean, should you be saying terrible, racist things about people? No. But, and do you want that on your platform? Probably not. But, wherever you draw the line means that, when you start drawing lines, that's when bad things start to occur. So,
right. And that's really what it is. So I don't know what's going to happen with Alex Jones and InfoWars. I do know that I'm glad that X exists. I'm really glad that Elon bought X and gave it made it people allowed to speak their minds. I'm glad that Rumble exists, even though, it probably doesn't have the same viewership as YouTube and other places. These places need to exist that allow people to speak. And we are able to see in real time the corruption happening around this Alex Jones InfoWars case. If X didn't exist, a lot of people wouldn't even see those videos. They wouldn't know that he had his other site popped up. They wouldn't know. They would just assume that Alex Jones bad. Alex Jones fine. Alex Jones company sold to the Onion. That's hilarious. And they would continue to be low information voters, low information viewers. Because of information, whether it's wrong or right, whatever, because they have access to all the information, they're able to make what I'm assuming is reasonable,
informed decisions.
Informed decisions.
Right.
So that's why it's so important. And we don't know how it's gonna we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna happen in InfoWars. But what we do know is that because these places exist, he is able to bring it to light that it's being ran by corrupt officials, people that we didn't vote. Like, we didn't vote these people in a place. They were appointed and they're just in there forever. And they're allowed to make decisions that affect, $1 billion decisions that affect millions of people. It's pretty crazy. And thank God that we know now. And who knows what happens? I'm not sure. I'm like, honestly, Shane, how much longer do you think that guy's going to stay in that studio?
I mean, it depends. Well, it depends on if we're allowed to have more voices. Like, I don't agree with everything Alex Jones says. Sometimes he says things that are really out there. And I don't know if he's doing it because he truly believes it or if he's doing it because it's sensational and gets people to watch him. There's probably a combination of the both. But listen, put on your skeptic hats. Everybody should be skeptics.
Yes.
We want to believe things, but the way to protect yourself during all of this misinformation is to be skeptical of everything and allow it to play out in front of you. If it's happening and it's good, then it's good and you'll know what to believe. But don't just buy into what people say. Don't just buy into people's X's or tweets. Don't just buy into, what people say as being the truth. I see all the time little snapshots. I mean, who knows what foreign government is trying to get us to think certain things too. I mean, it's really, really difficult to understand. So just be skeptical and protect yourself. And together, maybe we can try to figure out what's true and what's not true.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about this whole situation, in my opinion, is that how many times did this happen to lower profile people, and we just we never know about it, and we'll never know about it.
Sure. A lot.
Like Alex Jones he's a huge persona. Like he's a massive person online. People know his name that have never seen his videos. And the reason we know about this corruption is because he's so big and he has a massive platform on a recently freed social media network that another massive person with the richest guy in the world bought. All these things came together so that we can know about this corruption. What about the guy with 150,000 subs that was just shut down and bought out by Media Matters or whatever on YouTube? What about that guy?
Yeah,
you'll never hear about ever.
No, you're right. It happens frequently, and we've been doing this thing for a long time. Even if you've been watching us, I think we came on the scene in 2017. We could sense through entertainment how things were shifting, how information was there was lack of transparency, how Hollywood was changing to kind of change the fabric of how people think.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of there at the beginning talking about different things, but also we were aware, and you guys were aware that things were starting to change and that things were becoming less free. And I'm glad we've gotten to a point now, all these years later, 7-8 years later, where, we're able to talk about it more openly and hopefully bring things more to truth.
Yeah. So that's our opinion. What's your opinion? I'm sure you have a lot of them. Please let us know in the comments below, in the chat. Let us know what you guys think about this whole thing. Alex Jones, InfoWars, etc., etc. Look, if you love him or hate him, that's not the point. The point is freedom of speech. The point is the corruption. Is this worth it? Let's say you hate him. Is it worth it to set a precedent that you can find someone over $1 billion for speaking their mind, even if it's a bad idea? Is that a good thing? And let's see how it shakes out. Right, Shane?
Absolutely. And we got a super chat here from Christy's Corner for $1.99.
Yeah, Christy Corner.
Doing my part.
That's right. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you for the donation. We appreciate it. Keep us rocking every Saturday when you do that.
Okay, so speaking of Alex Jones, as a great segue into our main topic, let's talk about Let's talk about Alex Jones as the future press secretary for the Trump administration, Shane. Do you think that would be a good idea? Let me tell you, there is someone that does think it would be a good idea, and I'm going to let the information come straight from her mouth.
I want to be very clear about Alex Jones.
This is Kenneth Owens, by the way.
I will crawl over broken glass and give him everything I earn. If all he needs is someone to pay the salary, leave it to me. Leave it to me. I'll get a second job to pay whatever salary he wants to be the press secretary. If he's like, I'm gonna need $500,000 a year, leave it to me. Like I said, I will pick up a job and I will raise the money. It'll be totally fine. If we get Alex Jones, we are not worthy. We are not worthy. But Trump, please, it would be the greatest troll. And by the way, he is more than equipped for it. He has run a show for decades.
I'm not gonna do the whole thing here.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, if you've been watching the news, you know that Trump has already picked his press secretary. It was not Alex Jones. It was Carolyn Leavitt. Returns to Trump's White House as press secretary, and she is the youngest press secretary ever. I don't like this whole trolling narrative. Like, I know some people think it's funny, and it's the people who were so happy that Trump won. They seem to like this narrative of like trolling the other side by these picks. And I don't like that narrative. I don't think if it is trolling, I don't like it. Like now you're going to be the guy in charge. You don't want to troll your opposition just to show them I won. Hate that.
Well, no, but you can make a good pick that is also in a way trolling.
Right. But Alex Jones would not have been a good pick.
So I disagree with Kenneth Owens. You're right.
That would have just been trolling.
Yeah. Listen, while I think it would have been freaking hilarious, it wouldn't have been
of course. Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a good press secretary. And I get that. But it would have been really, really funny. So you're right. He's not going to be press secretary. He did select press secretary. So let's just quickly break down his announcements so far. And let me just pull this up real quick. So we got Marco Rubio as
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State, thank you. Matt Gaetz. This is, by the way, these require confirmation. Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, which we're going to talk about that. I don't really care about these guys. Christy Nome as Homeland Security. Tulsi Gabbard as Department of Intelligence, which is going to be great. That's great, I think. And then I'm just going to wrap this up with, because all these people, other people I don't really know. Robert F. Kennedy as Director of Health. That's great.
Okay, Bergen. Yeah. Okay. Interior. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then if for no confirmation required, we know about J.D. Vance, blah, 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 blah. And let's get down to, again, these other people are just sort of like, okay, I don't know them. I have no interest in them too much. But Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy as the Department of Government Efficiency. Or Doge, for to be clear.
That's a bit of a troll. That's an Elon Musk deep cut, though.
Yes, it is. So really quick, though, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. What do you think about this, Shane?
First off, we got to talk about his appointments are very important. So the left is going to try to paint these appointments as showing how he's unfit to be president, how he has unfit picks. They're going to show their whole goal is to show that he shouldn't be president, and everybody who surrounds him is crazy, right? This is going to be the way the narrative is going to be. There are people now, when you go into government and the president usually picks people, do you know how he usually picks them? He usually picks people that he owes favors to.
Right.
Okay. So you helped me with my run. You've done this for me in the past. Here's my quid pro quo. You're going to be this person in my cabinet. Okay. That's how it usually works. Now for Trump, that's not how it works. Trump is all based on loyalty. Okay. So he wants, in his first term, he hired a bunch of people because he wasn't exactly sure what to do. And so he listened to some people he thought he could trust. Turns out they were just stabbing him in the back.
Yeah. A bunch of deep swamp monsters.
Yeah. So he said, okay, my second term, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hire people who I know are going to be loyal to me, because this is going to be a top-down government. Okay. Trump is going to be making the decisions. Okay. This is in a lot of cases, like when Bush, W. Bush came in, he was surrounded by people who were all a lot more qualified than he was to run the government. Okay. Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld and a lot of those people. Donald Trump is going to run our country as a president. He's going to, as the president, he's not going to let his advisors dictate what happened. The problem with his first 4 years was that all of his advisors thought, well, we're going to tell the president what to do and he's going to do it.
Right.
That's the way the government has run for a long time.
Right.
Not with Trump. He's like, I run my business. I make the decisions. I was voted president. I get to make the decisions.
Right.
So he's appointing people in all these places that he knows are going to be loyal to him. They aren't going to backstab him. And let me tell you, he just spent the last several years fighting against the attorney general of the United States appointed by Biden. Okay. He's been fighting because that guy was coming after him. He needs somebody. And that's why Matt Gaetz is the pick here. I know people say it's a troll, but the reality is the Matt Gaetz pick is Matt Gaetz is going to go in there and make sure nobody is trying to stab Trump in the back. And it's not just the AG that gets picked. It's the people who work for that department, for the Department of Justice. It's the underlings. If you go back and look at the people who were doing the Trump collusion stuff, right? Those were underlings who were texting back and forth to each other, excited that they were screwing Trump and had no evidence, right? Those are the people. So he needs a guy like Gaetz who's going to come in, and he's shown it because he's pissed off Republicans and Democrats because this is what he believes and this is what he goes after. Some people can question whether or not they like him or not. So he kind of comes across as a little bit of a
he is literally a Batman villain, though. He looks like a Batman villain. He has a lot of skeletons in his closet. And maybe you're right. Maybe that's the reason, because he was really tough on like the Jan 6 overreach. All those things. But even if you're right, there's no way this guy gets confirmed.
Well, because he has too many enemies. So, and the Senate does need to confirm. And so you're right. But Trump, that doesn't mean Trump isn't going to pick him. He's going to try to get it confirmed. Right. Okay. Because he knows that guy's going to go in there and he's going to make sure nobody's stabbing Trump in the back. Right. That's what Trump's big concern is. He's afraid that people are going to come in and keep him from doing his job. I'm very curious to see what we can accomplish in 4 years if Trump is just is not fought against. Like, let him do the things he wants to do. Let's see what happens. I mean,
this is the closest we're going to get to that scenario. Because
right.
They had everything. But everyone hates Matt Gaetz. And Matt Gaetz is, and this is alleged, he's allegedly a predator. And I don't know what's true and what's not.
Well, okay, he may be, but here's the problem with what the this is what the Justice Department, they're the ones who are coming at him, right? So he was causing problems in the Senate. And now all of a sudden they're coming at him, right? Does that sound familiar? Trump,
it does.
Right?
Yeah, it does.
So it's hard for us to believe if he is, that's bad. But because their track record, it makes it look like they're just trying to shut down another guy. We're immediately going to not believe it. So it's really hard.
You're completely right. I don't know what's true and what's not, because I have so little trust in the system anymore because of what they've been doing for the last 8 years with Trump. And I don't know if the guy is a dirtbag or not. And this is the problem too. When you use the law to fight politically, then a lot of people lose confidence in the law. And we have to have confidence in the blindness of Lady Liberty.
Absolutely.
If we do not have confidence in that, then I can't even look at what the law is telling me and what the facts. I have to question everything. And this guy could be a total nightmare predator, and I wouldn't believe you because you've been lying to me for 8 years.
The boy who cried wolf. It's a very old story. Very true.
All right, so let's talk about the other confirmations. But very specifically, let's talk about Tulsi Gabbard. Because a lot of people were acting really weird about Tulsi Gabbard, right? And you're going to ask, I mean, she's a Democrat. I mean, is it...
She was.
Oh, she was. Is it common for a Democrat to be added to a Republican cabinet?
It used to be. There used to be a crossing of, there used to be a kind of a unification. Sometimes you'd pick a couple people from the other party because everybody put America above their own personal agenda, at least outwardly.
Right.
So you could try, but it's been a long time since that happened. And the thing is that Tulsi is another one of those people who have been very loyal to Trump, and he trusts her. And listen, nobody's been done more dirty than Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, she's been done so dirty.
She's now the media is still coming after her. So Hillary Clinton, I think it was Hillary, called her a Russian asset, right, when she was running against her. Okay, and so ever since then, they're still saying it. Now she was put on the no-fly list by the Justice Department, by Biden's Justice Department. So Trump putting her as the director of national intelligence is fantastic, because there are members of the intelligence apparatus that are trying to bring Trump down. Okay, in his first term, ever since. Now Tulsi can be that watchdog. So she's in charge, she's in charge of making sure that the CIA and the FBI, maybe not the FBI, but she's of all of our different national intelligence apparatus. She's going to be in charge. She's going to be reporting to Trump about it. So he doesn't have to worry about getting stabbed in the back from the intelligence agency's perspective. And he can also tell her, listen, I need you to make sure that nobody's trying to bring me down from inside these agencies. So that's why her pick is there. And I think she needed to be rewarded. It was a huge risk for her to come to the other side, and her doing it helped him a lot with the win. And I think it's the right move. And I think she's very smart. She's a veteran. She's a hero. And I really, really, really like her, actually. So,
yeah, I like her a lot too. Maybe we don't agree on everything, but that doesn't matter. We don't have to. I think she's actually pretty great, and I think it's awesome that we're going back to a time that we can cross the lines. Like I said last week, we were all born on the same soil. We're all Americans, even if we don't agree with how everything should run. We can make the decision, and it's smart for Trump to do this. That this person he was going to be perfect or very good at this very particular job, whether they're Democrat or Republican, whether they agree on abortion or gun rights or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like whatever their beliefs are they good for that job? Regardless of what party lines they represent.
Well, and most of these people, I would argue, are not good for these jobs. So if you're looking for somebody who's like an intelligence expert to run it, then that's the wrong pick. But like I said, Trump isn't picking for that, and she doesn't need to be an intelligence expert to run her business. She needs to make sure the intelligence apparatus is doing its job.
Right.
That's her job. So, and he's picking people that he thinks will do that. It's very frequently, the people who are picked as Secretary of Defense and in all of these different, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that, they aren't necessarily experts. They weren't always, 4-star generals. Some of these appointments are just political things that people owe things. But it's most important that Trump picks people that he thinks will support his agenda, which is what he wants to get accomplished. And that's his right to do so.
Yeah. What about Christy Nome? Christy Nome as Homeland Security. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like, I don't think she's qualified. She was the governor of South Dakota. Is she qualified to run Homeland Security?
Well, she's a governor, and granted, it's not a big state, but she's a governor. She has CEO leadership qualities, right? So she had a stupid thing about her dog that made her look really dumb.
Oh yeah, that was dumb. Her killing a dog.
But listen, here's another person who's been extremely loyal to Trump.
Right.
Here's Homeland Security, another huge department, and not only does he have her now at the top, but he's also got his border czar, right? That's the Holman, the guy who's been out there talking about.
Oh yeah, I love that guy.
Right. So he also works under Homeland Security. So he's beefed up, and the border is going to be a huge
Thomas
deal for him.
Homan.
He knows that Christy Nome is not going to stop Thomas Homan from doing his job.
Right.
Right. He knows that. He knows that and that's why she's there. And she's capable. She's she was a governor. She's, capable of running things. And listen, she's not going to be the one doing the work anyways, but she will report to Trump and she will do what Trump wants her to do.
Yeah. I had a clip that I was going to show, of this guy, Thomas Homan. And, it got copyright claimed because MSNBC is garbage, but I thought it was really funny. And I'll paraphrase what he said. He was being interviewed and he was like, and they were like, they asked him, what about breaking up families? If you're going to deport everyone, don't you, what about, families? And he goes, oh, they could be deported too.
Yeah.
They can all go together.
Well, and he had such a logical answer to that. So he said, what happens when I get a dad for DUI? He gets separated from his kids, right? Very reasonable. The guy doesn't care about political correctness. He's just going to do his job. And it's very heartening to hear that a lot of people who retired as border agents because of everything that's happened want to come back now to help secure the border. It's very nice.
Right. Okay. And last, before we get into the Doge part of it, because that's going to be a longer discussion, let's talk about this Robert F. Kennedy for Health and Human Services Secretary. I love this.
Yeah, we should talk about all of them, actually, bro. It's Peter Hegseth, and we should talk about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, too.
No, we're going to talk about Elon Musk and Vivek.
Okay.
Who else you want to talk to?
We need to talk about, very important, we talk about the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. He's a Fox News anchor.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's a questionable thing that we should probably talk about. But
yeah,
let's talk about.
I don't know anything about him, so if you want to do that first, and then we go RFK, and then Doge.
Yeah, so just Pete Hegseth is very interesting because it is. This is a very different appointment for Secretary of Defense. Usually, you pick somebody who's been deeply a part of, who kind of has a little bit more experience with defense. Now, Pete Hegseth is a veteran. Iraq, Afghanistan. He's currently, or was recently, a Fox News anchor, but he's a veteran. He's got 2 Bronze Stars. The guy's a hero. The question is he qualified to be the Secretary of Defense? And here's what I'll say. Same exact situation with the other ones. The Department of Defense and all of our, look at that guy's tattoos, and all of our defense is becoming very woke. Okay, it's becoming very ideological for, towards, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have LGBTQ people there or you shouldn't have, women in certain positions, but it is definitely compromising to the level of how much they're pandering to these groups inside the military. Instead of being focused on having a strong military, they're more focused on, what their social situation is and their social standing in the military. Are we being representative of our society? Well, listen, you need to go win wars. You need to go make sure wars don't get started. That's what matters most. And this Pete Hegseth guy believes those things.
Yeah,
so
listen, we don't care about if you're representing your little bubble of society. Win wars. That's your only job, dude.
Right.
The Admiral Levine thing is such a mockery. It feels like every time I see this Transformer, I'm just so ashamed of our military and what we've done with it. We're not trying to make friends in the military. We're trying to defend the country and win wars. Period. The end.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're a trans person in the military. You chose to join the military. If you're fighting your political battles in the military, it's the wrong place to be doing it. So, they need to get back to common sense. And this guy Pete Hegseth is going to do that. He's he's a American First veteran. He's America First. He's going to be loyal to Trump, and Trump knows that he's going to make sure that we don't continue treating the Department of Defense like it's a social experiment. So we need to continue to make it strong. And
I mean, look, recruitment numbers are way down. And we talked about this last year, I think it was, right? Or year before. I forgot.
Sure.
But remember the ad that came out where it was like, I joined the Air Force because my two moms, like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing? What percentage of people have two moms?
Right.
What percentage of people have two moms?
Right. Like, this is bad marketing. Like,
your virtue signaling is all you're doing.
And
you're
I'm
not
nothing
trying to
against
bring
people
in
with
more
two
people.
moms, but like, this is not going to recruit anyone.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's the point. The point is if you got two moms, you want to join the military, good for you. Go do it. But why are you targeting, 0.5% of the population or 1% of the population, whatever it is.
And you go back to the highest numbers and the ads were like people fighting dragons with swords. Like
that's because you were marketing to the right people.
You're marketing to the right people.
Yes.
Oh my God. It's so crazy, man. Yeah. So I don't know about, you're right. I skipped the Pete Hegwith initially because I don't know enough about him.
Right.
But I do actually recognize this picture, and I think I read his book, dude.
Yeah, he does. He has
a book that I think I read. Look, I don't know if he's the most qualified, but I think he's gonna do what he's gonna fulfill what Trump is trying to fulfill, and sort of adds the masculinity back into the military, and sort of the pragmatic sort of way the military is supposed to be operating, and not this social weird construct that we've invented.
Yeah.
So, maybe
it's true. And the military, going back just really quick. So one of the things that they're against, they think he was flagged in 2017 as having a tattoo that was possibly associated with white supremacy.
Oh yeah, it wasn't.
So here's the thing. Before I left the military, this was a long time ago, they started this thing where they were like identifying potential problems and issues and sinology that could be difficult. And so they started going into this whole thing. We were having trainings on like what white supremacists would have as far as things, or what different groups, it started out as terrorist groups, but then it started like molding into like social groups to be identified as. And so these young soldiers and sailors and Marines have been taught that if you see these types of things that it's a threat. It's an indoctrination of our entire military.
Remember the hand symbol? That was a white supremacist thing.
It was just something somebody came up with in a picture.
Right.
And that's how the government, the internet can really do some bad things sometimes. So it'll be interesting to see, but obviously none of his tattoos, they're all things that are hundreds of years old. He's got literally has like Christianity.
Yeah. The cross
symbols on him.
The cross symbol on his chest. And I don't know what the picture is, but it's an old Crusades, like ancient Christian cross.
Yeah.
Everything is about Christian like ideology and patriotism. He's that guy, he's and there are
swaths of white supremacists that are religious.
Sure.
So you are going to have groups that have religious symbology, but that doesn't mean that everybody with religious symbology is racist.
Guys, I'm religious and I'm not racist. And by the way, if these groups are religious and racist, then they're not reading the Bible.
Right.
Because the Bible very, very, very clearly speaks against.
I think they say something about loving everybody.
Right. Oh, yeah. Jesus was not racist. Okay.
Yeah.
So chill out, guys. Anyways, I don't think this Pete guy is racist either.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but
Yeah. Again, everything we're saying, we don't know the actual outcome of any of this. These people could be bad at their jobs. It might not work. But you know what hasn't worked for a long time? The current status quo.
Well said.
It hasn't worked. The military, the lowest recruitment in decades. Like, it's just not working.
Well, and of course, leading into here's a transition for you. The number he was putting out there that 70% of our youth can't get into the military because they're too overweight. Here's to you, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, I have someone here that thinks that it would be a bad idea for RFK Jr. is so unhealthy and his appointment to HHS security is dangerous. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Pot calling the kettle black there, boss. And here's an interesting tweet that I saw. Health Minister 2020. Health Minister 2024. Okay, that's Levine. That's the very unhealthy trans admiral or general or whatever the hell. I don't know.
So I don't even know what to say. I just look at that and get confused.
Yeah. So does he, bro, or she, or it. I don't know. So Trump does pick RFK Jr. to be head of the Human and Humane
Health and Human. Yep.
Sorry, Health and Human. Sorry, I don't know why I said humane. Health and Human Services Department. And do you think the Senate is going to confirm RFK here, bro?
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah, I do think so. He really has support actually from Dems on this. There's Dems who like this appointment. People believe, and here's the thing. I need to speak through this carefully. The drug companies, okay, I think I'm safe still. The drug companies have a stranglehold on our medical situation, the way things medical works in our country. Okay, Correct. They have a stranglehold on our media. They have a stranglehold on a bunch of things. He's going to come in and make sure that there are no backroom deals occurring that make it easier for the drug companies to take advantage of people. That's what he's going to do. He's going to come and look at the efficacy of certain medicines and those things kids get before they can go to school when they're little. He's going to go in and look into those things. Yeah, we can't
say the word.
Right.
We can't say the word.
But he's going to look carefully into those things and make sure that we're doing safe things. What the left is going to tell you is that he's crazy, can't be trusted. He has all these crazy beliefs. If you actually listen to him talk, which they won't do, they won't actually listen to the things he's saying. They're just going to listen to reports about what he said. But if you actually listen to him talk, he's going to tell you, nope, I believe strongly in these things. I think they're important and we need to have them. We just need to question everything. And that's what we need to do. I mean, why are Americans so overweight? Why is our health declining? Why are we not living as long as we can? Well, if you look around the world, it's because we've got all kinds of things in our food that wouldn't be legal in other countries.
Yeah, it's sort of crazy. Did you know that Subway sandwich bread is not even it's illegal in, I think, Sweden, and it's not even considered bread. It has so much sugar, it's labeled as cake. Like, well, when you go to Subway and get a whole wheat sandwich, that you're actually getting a cake sandwich.
Well, and that's funny. It shouldn't be illegal, though. I'm not sure why it's illegal. So listen, here's what we need to do. Listen, if we want to keep eating candy bars, then that should be our choice. What we need is visibility. What we need is transparency in everything. We need to know, okay, look, what they're feeding, what they're giving you, you need to have the facts. Okay. And right now, I think all of these large industries are doing everything they can to keep it quiet. There's a way more sugar in stuff than people realize.
Yep.
And sugar's killing people. And I think RFK Jr. is the type of guy who's going to just question things. He's going to be skeptical. He's going to make sure that there are no backdoor deals. Whereas other people who've been hired before, they're just trying to keep their jobs. That's the great thing about these appointments. It's a great thing about him. He cares about changing things for the better, but he's not going to take away your liberties in the process. This is important. What the left is trying to do, they want the world to be better too, but they're telling you what is better, and you are going to do what they tell you to do.
You will own nothing, you will eat bugs, and you will be happy, damn it.
Whatever they say is the right thing. What these guys on the right are saying is listen, we also have our own beliefs on what's right and wrong. The difference is we're going to tell you what it is, and you choose. And that's the difference in what's happening right now. And the reason why RFK Jr. is fantastic is because he's going to now get an opportunity. All these things he's questioned his entire life, he's going to get a chance to go in there and peel back the layers and find out what's actually happening.
Oh,
and we all want to know that.
And I got to say, like, a lot of people are just sweating through their shorts right now.
There's a lot of people who get in a lot of trouble.
A lot of people are really worried, from the FDA to pharmaceutical companies, to the people in charge of monitoring those companies, the media. Here's a question, wait, why and I can't say the word, but why is there certain things allowed on American television? Like 2 countries in the world allow ads from Big Pharma, and we're one of them. Well, because they own them. Just like a bunch of here's a question. The food pyramid. Does anyone else believe that thing is real anymore? Or was it designed to sell us sugar?
Well, it was one guy, and everybody said, well, that really works out great for us sugar producers.
Right.
So here's the deal. If he does not get confirmed, this is where we need to ask ourselves why. It needs to really be dug in deep, because it's possible there's so much money. It's possible that some of these senators can be purchased. And let me tell you right now, if I'm the drug companies,
I think it happens all the time.
No, I'm just saying that our senators, right? Mm-hmm. The Republican senators, he should pass confirmation. They don't need Democrats to pass confirmation. These are just the Republicans can do it.
Right. Well, yeah, because they own it now.
So what I'm saying is, anybody who votes no, you have to take a hard look at who's paying them money. Okay, and then it needs to be brought out. We need to talk about it.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. How about this? Maybe some of these appointments, especially the ones that require confirmation, are a way to sort of drag out the swamp monsters.
I think so. Yeah.
Think about that. Like some of these requiring confirmation is going to sort of drag out who in the party is bought and paid for by the Dems, or the liberals, or the pharmaceutical companies, or Big Sugar, or whatever, name it here.
Right. We're dealing with so many different things. We're dealing with political ideologies. We're dealing with addictions. We're dealing with sugar drug addicts. We're dealing with so many different things that we're trying to get right, that there's going to be a lot of moving objects, and we need to really pay close attention to what's going on.
I agree. Okay. Let's talk about.
We do have a super chat up here.
Oh, we do. Okay, let's do that first. You're right. I'm sorry. I almost missed it. From you Fook Dat Fat Cow Nima.
Never stop being you.
Yeah.
You Fook.
You're hilarious, man. I love it. All right. He says for $4.99, thank you Fook that fat cow.
Nima.
What do you think about Tulsi being DNI for Trump and Dems attacking her and accuse her of being a Russian asset? They did that before in 2020. Yeah, I'm so fucking tired of the Russia. Everyone's a Russian asset like it's effing 1980 again, and we're in the middle of a movie. Can we stop with this? Like, why are we blaming Russia for, very specifically, the Dems blame Russia for everything? Like, it's like
because it's boogeyman. It's a boogeyman.
Yeah.
It's a boogeyman for the people who follow them, and it's easier to believe. The Russians aren't going to come out and say they're not, or who will believe them anyways.
Like,
it's very easy to do.
What are you talking about? We don't know this person.
It'd be a lot better if they made them Chinese assets, but the problem is the left's in bed with the Chinese.
Right.
So much that they can't do it. They're more scary, but I think we talked about it earlier, you Fook that. But essentially, I think it's going to be great that our Russian asset is now in charge of the intelligence, and that's what they're going to be complaining about. But I think it's a good move, and I think
everyone's a Russian asset.
That isn't on their side.
That isn't on their side. Everyone's a Russian asset. It's just so silly. I'm pretty sure, if we were big enough, we'd be Russian assets. What about Tim Pool? Tim Pool's a Russian asset. Remember that? Like, come on, stop it.
It's over. Come up with a new. Yeah. Listen, why don't you get a new gig?
Yeah,
let's get a new shyster.
Yeah. Let's try something new. It's clearly not working.
Yeah.
You're
a Canadian asset, Brian.
I'm a Canadian asset. That's right. I love poutine, not Putin. Poutine. I actually do like poutine. I don't know. Have you ever had poutine?
I have not.
Oh my God, it's delicious, bro. It's like potatoes and gravy, and it's just like,
it sounds like everything I don't need. But
it's so good. It was nothing I eat either. It's great. In fact, if we were eating at RFK, it'd be like, what are you doing? Put that down.
Put the poutine down.
Oh my God. Speaking of this, I was laughing my butt off when they were doing, he was doing like this interview, or it's like, it was an interview. It was I guess it was a pseudo interview. Well, they were asking about, spending time with Trump. And he goes up, he's like, dude, everything on Trump's plane is just McDonald's and Diet Coke. He's like, I don't even know how that man's still alive. He was like,
he loves him some McDonald's, man.
It's so unhealthy. He's like, everyone thinks that Trump is this whole thing with Trump and McDonald's is like a joke. No, he loves it. Everything's McDonald's and Diet Coke. He's like, I once sat with that guy for 6 hours, and he didn't drink a single sip of water. It was just Diet Coke after Diet Coke. So you have to understand, like RFK doesn't agree with Trump's lifestyle, and Trump probably doesn't care for RFK's aversion to oil, right?
Well, he keeps saying it, which is pretty funny.
He keeps saying, hey, you do whatever you want with the house. Don't touch the liquid gold.
Yeah, I love this other one. Don't get too popular, Bobby. Don't get too popular. Right? He's a popular guy.
Right. So the thing is, like, they don't have to agree, and they can still know that, like, we're trying to make this world a better place, specifically America right now. It's all gonna, it's all gonna drip down. We need this. We need to be healthy again. We need to be great again. We need to be honest again. We need our military to be strong again. We need our borders to be secure again. These are things that not should happen. We want to try it. We're gorking for it. No, it should have never been this eroded in the first place.
Right. Yeah, we just need more information, more transparency. Let us make the choices. David Nelson for $1.99. Keep up the good work from the 199.
199.
Thanks all our geeks and gamers, friends out there. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support.
Let's talk about Doge. Department of Government Efficiency. Very interesting. A brand new department created. What's that?
It's not a real department. So I know. So here's the problem. A lot of people on the left are calling it a new department, that Trump just created a new department. He can't do that.
It's an effort. I get it.
It's not. It's not a department. It's not an actual department of the government. It's a think tank. It's a suggestion. It's a whatever you want to call it. It's a group of people to make suggestions to Trump. It's not real. Okay.
So Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are co-leaders of a government efficiency effort. Now, this is the part where people start to be confused. You put an entrepreneur and it's coincidentally the richest person in the world, in charge of efficiency at the government. Here's the deal. Government efficiency is an oxymoron. I don't think these things
that's not fair.
Come on, Shane.
No, I don't think. No, listen. Government was very efficiency right at the beginning of the Constitution.
Okay. You know what? The government's very good at. They're very good at getting our money. I'll say what Adam Carolla always says. If you owe them money, they're a bunch of monkeys shooting at, playing with abacuses. But the second you owe them money, they're straight up futuristic Terminators. And I get it. Because it's all about money. But government spends a lot of money on a lot of crap for no reason. What was that? Remember that one guy who showed us a bag of bolts that he purchased for $200 at Lowe's that would have cost $25 million if it was purchased through government approved vendors? It's crazy.
But it's the reason why is because you have human beings who, what is their goal? Well, listen, I want to have a more comfortable life. I want to make more money. So people making rules it's very incestuous. So the government is constantly building itself up because the people who are in charge want to continue getting rich. Why do people get into politics? Right? For power, wealth, and influence. Right? Those are the three reasons. And so government by its nature, and you're right to this degree, it will continue to get larger because the people who are involved in it want to continue to sustain themselves.
Right.
It takes sacrifice to cut government. All of the presidents who've ever come in that balance the budget, None of them are the popular presidents.
No.
If you go back, they're the ones who did their job as president. They get very little recognition,
Right?
Which is why it's hard for people to come in and not want to make the government bigger, right? Because it tends to not leave a great legacy.
Shane, are you popular when you got to go over your budget with your wife at the end of the month?
Oh no, no! I hate sleeping in the other room. It's terrible.
Dude, I'm not very popular when I'm like, when I have to tell my wife what we can and can't afford. Like,
right.
I don't
Americans
even,
don't want to
I
hear
don't
that.
even feel good about myself when I have to do that. But like, facts are facts.
It's true.
And the interesting thing about this, people, I don't understand why the left hates Elon Musk so much, other than just tribalism.
Well, you know why.
Right. Well, because they loved him up until he started, making
Until he bought Twitter.
Until he bought Twitter and started fighting for the rights of Americans.
Until he started fighting for liberty, for freedom,
justice in the American way, like that.
Yes, he used to be, everybody was all about freedom, but now we're finding out that you're only allowed freedom if you do what we tell you to do.
Imagine if the headline was President Obama appoints Elon Musk in 2009, mind you, as government efficiency, the head of Tesla. Like, the left would have been like, oh, hell yeah.
No, they wouldn't have.
This guy's a super genius.
No, the left want bigger government. So he would have never said that. And Obama would have never had a Department of Government Efficiency.
That's true.
Because the left wants bigger government. The reason they want bigger government is because more money, more programs, which means more votes, because more free things get you more votes. So that's the difference. Now, when you get the Republican side, they're more conservative. Some of them still want bigger government, but most of the time, smaller government. And so Musk is about independent, smaller government, saving your money. Ramaswamy, well, he's Trump light, essentially. So, you've got these two guys who are fantastic. And what are they going to do? They're not actually going to change anything. Okay. They're going to shame everyone.
Right.
So what's going to happen is, okay, he's Musk and Ramaswamy are going to make suggestions to Trump about people who are wasting money. Okay. And if you've been watching the news at all last week, there's all kinds of weird millions and millions of dollars being spent on strange things.
I got some things I want to bring up about that. I got about 12 hilariously ridiculous waste of government resources.
Can we talk about them right now while we're here? Because we're here.
Yeah. That's what we're gonna. That's what was the next thing. It's funny how you were like, you're transitioning when I was already with this transition, and you were like already doing it.
Oh, well, I don't want to leave Elon and Vivek, but if you can talk, we got to talk about why they're needed.
And this is important. So what I was going to say was, if you don't think this is a required effort, agency, department, whatever, then you're not paying attention, or you've been misinformed, or you are, a low information voter. Because let's just talk about a few examples. The city of San Francisco wasted over $20,000 on a trash can.
No.
Following a 4-year-long research and development process, city officials stationed 26 trash cans, 15 custom-made prototypes, and 11 off-the-shelf cans around the city this past summer before picking a winner. Why did the city even bother with the custom-made models, which ranged in price between $11,000 to $20,000 each, when the off-the-shelf trash can cost between $630 and $2,800 a piece? By the way, guys, I can go to Home Depot right now and buy a trash can for $50. I don't know why a trash can is going to cost $2,800. That's insane.
Well, and this is okay. Now, this is state government. So, do we have some federal programs?
Yeah, here's some federal ones. So, here was the first one, and it's going up the list. $700 million to famous music artists from the small. What?
$200 million.
I'm sorry. I saw number 7. $200 million.
Yeah.
$200 million to famous music artists from the Small Business Administration. Through the Shuttered Venue Operations Grant Program, the Small Business Administration, the SBA, funneled $200 million to some of the biggest names in entertainment, so-called small business owners such as Post Malone, small business owners, Lil Wayne, Chris Brown and the Smashing Pumpkins received up to $10 million each. Even Nickelback. I love how it finishes. Even Nickelback received $2 million.
They're the ones I want to get $10 million.
Right.
Yeah, and I know small business people who were denied loans. So very interesting.
Yeah, we were denied loans. Number 6, 2 graphic novels combating disinformation. In addition to their DEIA initiative, CISA has been hard at work creating not 1 but 2 graphic novels about disinformation as part of the Resilience series. Now, they don't have a number here, but I went and looked it up. $50 million was created, almost $50 million, 49 and change, to create 2 graphic novels.
Well, there you go. That's a great example.
Here's $8,394 for a lobster tank. I'm just going to leave that there. You guys can look that up on your own.
By the way, that's about how much a lobster tank costs. So that one's not waste.
Oh, really? That's what it costs?
Listen, as a guy who used to own a saltwater tank, those things can get pretty expensive.
Okay, how about this? $38 million to dead people.
That's going to be a tough one. Yeah,
this is gonna be hard to excuse. According to a special task force for tracking COVID payments from the federal government, $38 million went to people who were known to be dead in 2023. In fact, $1.3 million of that money went to 30 individuals who had been dead for at least a year. Brilliant.
Right. That's not good.
Number 3, training DHS employees to be their authentic and best selves.
I feel like I did that in the military.
Here we go. $6 million to boost Egyptian tourism. That was a funny one.
Yeah. What was that? Read that one.
It's puzzling how the concept of foreign aid ever got off the ground. One can at least understand the reasoning for spending taxpayer money on local schools, roads, and the like, even if you disagree. But how on earth did they sell foreign aid to taxpayers? Okay, here's the deal. We're going to take your money without your consent, and we're going to send it to our friends in a faraway country. That's pretty much what they did. Because the U.S. has spent over $100 million on Egyptian tourism so far, the report notes. What's next? Rebuilding the pyramids? Apparently.
I guess I need more information on that. I'd like to know how we've done that, but okay.
Yeah, these are short things. If you go look it up, basically there's a lot more layers to it, but ultimately it was to boost their tourism so that there be less poverty, so that they wouldn't be going into other countries, and as a whole.
So wait, so is this money we're giving? Okay, so this is where you got to be really careful with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did we give Egypt $50 million, $100 million or whatever as part of our normal stuff, and now they're pulling this money that Egypt spent of our money? You know what I'm saying? So
no. So it was $100 million. Out of the $100 million that was sent to Egypt, $6 million was earmarked to rebuild their tourism.
So here's the thing.
So that's the headline is correct.
If you're stupid enough to give $100 million to another country, okay, and they're going to do whatever the hell they want with it. Okay, I mean, look at how much money we've given Iran, and they're just they're giving weapons to people. So I would say this: if you're going to, you need to question how much money we're giving these other countries and why we're doing it. And if a country is not, and this is where Doge is going to be great, if Egypt spent a bunch of money on their tourism, that money that we gave them that was earmarked for, well, the next time we go to give them money, it needs to be a lot less. Because we do give other countries money as a quid pro quo to try to raise the level, to try to basically encourage democracy around the world. That's essentially why we do it. Stop dictatorships and communism from spreading. We spend a bunch of money around the world. So,
right. Well,
still not sure if it's good or not.
Here's something that is very specifically suited to Elon Musk. You recall $521 million it costs to build electric vehicle chargers, and there's a lot of information here, which I'll put the source in the chat. But to build about 25 of these vehicle EV chargers cost roughly about $521 million, and Elon Musk is on record saying. In fact, not on record, it's actually in financial records that it costs roughly $28,000 to build one of his chargers. So how much, and I someone got to the math on this at some point in the chat. How many can he build for $521 million? If it costs him $28,000 to build one charging station, and it costs us $521 million to build 28 of them, or 25 of them.
Well, check this out. So that's another great one. But this is just it's never ending. But I want to give you one if you're familiar with this, and this will give you a kind of a picture. California high-speed rail. So they decided, years and years ago, that California was going to have basically a train that took you from through basically the central part of California, right? Bakersfield, Fresno, to get you from LA to San Francisco faster, right? They were kind of connecting California. So they agreed on this high-speed rail, right? It was supposed to cost Californians $33 billion. Billion. Okay. Billion. It was supposed to be completed 4 years ago. Not a single segment of the system has been completed to date.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, the total estimated cost has ballooned to $128 billion. Now, that's just in the state of California. Can you imagine on a national level how much money is being wasted? Can these two, Brian, even do all the work that needs to be done to try to figure out where our inefficiencies are?
I mean, it's going to take a lot longer than 4 years. So you really have to hope that Elon Musk wants to continue doing it, or Vivek, and that the next president after Trump is friendly to the idea, whether it be JD Vance or, who knows.
There has to be, and you're right, there also has to be changes in the way we do things. For the Department of Defense, the way they do their spending is you have like this person who's in charge of the money at the top, and they just kind of keep sending money down to the different, branches of the government, branches of the military, to each of the different departments. And what they do is, like, let's say you get a budget of $1 million, right? So that you get a budget of, as a commanding officer, you get a budget of $1 million. If you spend 900,000 of your money, then they will only give you 900,000 the next year. So let me ask you a question. If you want to make sure you have enough money to do everything that you need to do, you're going to spend all $1 million, and there's no rules to keep you from spending it. So that's why things have gone so bad. And on top of that, you can't even get into the government to be a person who provides items. So let's say you want to buy hammers, right? You can't, not anybody who buys hammers or sells hammers can sell to the government.
Right. Not everyone's an approved vendor.
Right. And approved vendors, guess who gets there quickly? If you're a woman or minority owned business, you get fast tracked to the top of the list.
Right.
So when you only have 2 or 3 vendors, they can charge, $500 for a hammer.
Well, also
and the government has to pay it.
We also have no bid contracts that we just hand out. So like every contract for the government, when you're using an outside vendor, should be bid on. It shouldn't just be handed to someone's buddy at the maximum possible price.
And there's a rule for that. There is a requirement for so many bids, but most of the time, the same person who is supposed to get the 3 bids ends up picking the bid anyways.
Right.
So there's no sort of, and these are very low level. Let me tell you, the government waste goes all the way down to the roots. It is not going to be easy to do. But these guys, if anybody can do it, these guys are going to do it. And so what's going to start happening is you're going to see them cherry picking the big things, and they're going to start with that first. And so they're going to run it through X. You're going to see not only he's going to tell Trump, but then he's also going to X it or tweet it, and Vivek's going to be talking about it. So it's going to be very highly visible waste of government. And then we're going to get to hear about it and decide whether or not we're going to hold our representatives accountable.
Yeah, and I love that it's going to be transparent. We're going to actually be able to see it. Like
that's what we need.
Like they're not going to stop. They're going to keep. Like he's going to continually bring it up on Twitter and on whatever. Like we're going to know what's going on. I love that he also retweeted this this picture. He's like, "Let's go."
That's great.
Yeah, no, it's. I think this is great, and not just because I'm a massive Elon Musk simp, because I am. I've been real clear about this. I'm a massive fan of that guy. I think that anyone, like honestly, just the idea of someone talking about government efficiency and then being given power to actually, what did you say earlier? Pull back the onion, the layers of corruption,
right,
and get to the bottom line. We've known for years that no bid contracts, the DEI vendors, all these little things are just sucking, money out of the taxpayers and making everything harder and take longer. And we've said it. Other people have said it. News have said it. Even politicians have said it, but no one's ever done anything about it. And finally, I mean, dude, I remember when I was 13 watching Independence Day, and the old man is like, why do you think everything costs so much? What is it, $30,000 for a hammer? $20 million for a toilet seat? Like, I remember watching that and being like, yeah, wait a minute, why does it cost so much?
Judd Hirsch.
Yes. Well, like, for decades and decades and decades, this has been going on. Finally, someone, whether it be Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy or some other, or random other people, I don't care, as long as you're opening up this fact-fighting mission and we're trying to make it more efficient, because it's insane.
Yeah, something has to change.
And by the way, I'm still waiting for my bullet train to Vegas, bro. I've been waiting since I was a teenager. I have been promised a bullet train to Vegas for 30 years.
That'll be $128 billion, sir.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah, what do you guys think about this? Hit the chat, hit the comment section.
What do you guys think?
My brain just sort of like turned on. Like I'm still wondering what happened to that. I remember them saying we're building the high-speed railway. We're building it. It's happening, and it never happens. Yeah. The same people that go, we're in a drought. Don't forget, we're in a drought. Don't water your grass too long. These are the same people that when we get record level rain, they flush it into the San Francisco Bay to feed, because they're worried about some little shrimps or fish that are endangered. It's insane. This state is so stupid. All right.
Oh, it's true. By the way, the Bright Line West is the project you were talking about. Rail to Las Vegas. In September 2018, it was actually supposedly started. And it was supposed to second half of 2020 with a completion the second half of 2024. So we're supposed to have completion of it right now. But there were some delays, it looks like.
Delays.
And groundbreaking actually didn't begin until April of this year.
Wow.
So now they're expected the service to start in 2028.
You know what's funny? People criticized Elon Musk for his boring company. It's called The Boring Company.
I love it. I love that name.
When he's like, we're gonna build a tunnel that with this vacuum pump thing, this vacuum seal that people can travel in. It's all a pipe dream. He used that to get people excited, right? To get the investments, to get grants, to create this technology, this boring technology for digging in the ground that is 90% more efficient than what we currently had. So it would normally cost like millions and millions of dollars to travel, like say like 155 feet or whatever.
Yeah.
But he can do it for 20 grand now. So yeah, we didn't get the tunnel that went somewhere. We didn't get all that, the really crazy CGI version of his future.
Yeah.
But he used that company to invent technology that made it 90% more, 900% more efficient to dig.
Yeah.
Dig. And so now that company is starting to pull some serious money down because they're being hired to dig tunnels in places like New York, some certain places in Texas, a bunch of states that need this technology, and it's like a fraction of the cost. I mean, the guy's a genius.
No doubt.
So Anthony said 18,607. Elon can build 18,607 chargers for the same amount of money that the government spent to build 23.
23.
23.
Sad. Something's got to change.
All right. We do have one more quick story before we go to the members section. And it's just a little ad I thought was pretty funny. And so I want to share it with you guys before we go to the member section. Remember, if you want to become a member, it's pretty easy. Hit the little join button, bottom left of your screen. And that is where we're going to talk about how me and Shane were thinking of quitting our streaming to become mailmen. And you'll see why when we get into the member section. It's pretty ridiculous.
That's funny.
But for now, let's look at this last ad that I think is pretty funny. It's by the way, trigger warning, it's made with AI, but it's still hilarious. Shane, you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you distraught after the recent presidential election? Here at Don't Cry Cryo, we understand your pain, and we're here to help. Our expert team of cryogenic care providers can cryogenically freeze you until the Trump presidency has ended. No more crying, no more anxiety attacks, just blissful sleep until Trump is gone. When you awaken from your slumber, we'll even have a party ready and waiting for you. It will be like his presidency never even happened. It was all just a bad dream. As an added bonus, you can choose the Vance add-on package. We'll extend your sleep for an additional 4 years at a 50% discount in the event J.D. Vance wins the next presidential election. Everything will be okay. We're here to take care of you in your time of need. So remember, don't cry, cryo.
Don't cry,
Don't cry, cryo.
Cryo.
Don't cry, cryo. That's a great ad. Media, this is your fault. You've done this to everybody, by the way, by lying about this man. So,
yeah.
Shame.
Oh, here we go. There's more to it.
Where am I? Oh, please tell me it's over. Wait, something isn't right.
This is your captain, Elon Musk. I want to be the first one to welcome you to Mars.
Oh, that's great. It's just the fact that there's people who are upset about this is so unreasonable.
Okay, guys, we're going to the member section again. I want to remind you that we're gonna be sharing in there at the top of the member section as to why Shane and I might leave streaming to become mailmen, and it's ridiculous.
By the way, this is the first I've heard of this.
Oh,
so
no!
I didn't realize I was going to be a mailman.
When Shane sees what I'm about to show him, he'll be like, "I should be a mailman."
All right.
Yeah. So we're going to the member section. Please, if you would like to support us, hit that join button and join us in there, where we get to talk a little more freely and have a lot more fun, even though there's clearly some things we still can't talk about
Apparently,
in the member section.
We can't.
But at least we're not getting reported by a bunch of blue-haired weirdos. So come on in there. It's going to be great. If not, that's cool. We'll be back next Saturday at 12:30 PM PST. And we hope you could join us then, too.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. We know it's not easy. There's a lot going on in the middle of your Saturday. So if you catch us later in the week, no problem. Just, give us a subscribe and stay tuned. We'll have a lot more for you guys. This is only the beginning of the work. There's lots to do still. So
lots to do. And we need your help.
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to the member section. See you there.
Nothing is impossible. Just do it. Do it. Just